With oil prices near all-time highs, research into alternative energy has been increasing dramatically. And today in New York, investors and companies are meeting at the Renewable Energy Finance Forum to talk about ways to save the planet and perhaps your bank account as well with the use of alternative energy. Joining us now is Martin Tobias. He's the chairman and CEO of Seattle Biofuels. He's also a panel member at the conference that's going on today. And Martin, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You know, there's a lot of confusion, I think, out there. People start talking about biofuels, biodiesel. The thing that comes up most often, people start thinking ethanol, but that's very different than biodiesel, right?
Yes, it is. Ethanol is the renewable replacement for unleaded, and biodiesel is the renewable replacement for diesel. And unleaded and diesel engines are completely different uses. Diesel's primarily for commercial vehicles and big fleets versus consumers.
Ethanol got a big push when the president mentioned it in his State of the Union address. Do you think there's anything out there that will really get biodiesel moving?
Well, the president mentions biodiesel, too, at the same time when he talks about biofuels. In fact, I was with him on Friday at a fundraiser, and he talked about biodiesel. Biodiesel is going to about 5 years behind ethanol in terms of market size, but it's going to grow faster than ethanol.
Martin, there are a lot of people out there, some critics, who say that biofuels are just the flavor of the month. What do you say to them?
I say look at the price trends for oil. If you think oil's going to go back down to $20, then you shouldn't be investing in alternatives. If you think oil's going to stay high, we're going to need alternatives.
But, Martin, the point that this brings to is, where do you think oil prices? Maybe they're not going back down to $20, but what happens if they go back to $40, $50? A lot of analysts are expecting that that's very possible. Does it still make sense to be using biofuels at that point?
It certainly does. Today, actually, we have price inversion in biodiesel. I'm making biodiesel for the equivalent of $60 a barrel. So I noticed earlier you had oil at about 70.
Right.
I'm selling biodiesel cheaper than oil today. And I think with my new refinery that's coming online next year, we're building the largest refinery in the country, I'll be able to make biodiesel for around $35 a barrel. So I'll be price competitive even with $35 oil. I don't think there'll be a problem.
Who do you think is going to be buying it?
Right now, it's all the big fleets, a lot of big municipalities that are concerned about carbon emissions, and all the big users. You mentioned FedEx earlier today. They're concerned about fuel prices. Any big operator of fleets basically uses diesel vehicles, and they're going to have to be concerned about their environmental impact of their fleet as well as the cost of the fuel.
You know, there are some big companies that have gotten into biodiesel and biofuels as well, but it's a pretty tough play for an investor right now. Is it just too early for investors to get in on it?
Well, there's no public companies that are pure plays in biodiesel yet. There's a few in ethanol, and biodiesel is a tiny market compared to ethanol, and ADM and some of those guys are getting into it. I think it's too early for investors to play biodiesel in specific, but hopefully we'll solve that fairly soon.
All right, Martin, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Martin Tobias.